So I'm going to try to put this into words, and I don't know how far I'm going to get because it's just a giant pile of mist of a feeling. Um, but the feeling is so clear, it's just not even a little bit in words. But I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. So, what I'm feeling is I think the main word that is like really catching my attention as far as why do I even feel like telling this story in the first place, the feeling is progress. The feeling is like very, 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 very clearly getting to see how I do not live in the same world that I lived in 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Like, it is better now. It's like my normal is noticeably different than what it once was. And I'm talking improved. I'm talking it's only getting better and better and better. And this progress, this chunk of how much better I'm seeing that it is, like, is just so noticeable. I can't help but want to like really flesh out this feeling and like put it into words and press on the gas pedal of momentum by running this energy through my throat, by being willing to give it a voice, by having it be important enough to say it out loud. So thank you for indulging me. Blank room, quiet room with only myself in it. Yeah, I have the microphone here and I get to tell my story, and this story of progress and getting to look in the reflection that is my life and see myself, and in getting to see myself in that reflection, also then getting to remember what I used to see in that reflection and how I used to feel about what I saw, and comparing that to now what I see and how I feel about what I'm seeing. And the bottom line is it feels so much better to be who I am now than to like what it was once upon a time. And the specifics are so, just delicious and yummy. And so that's why I'm gonna like really savor these thoughts as they come through, because I really want to capture this like moment on my soul's journey in this lifetime. Like, if you follow astrology and you're familiar at all with the lunar nodes, I'm a south node in Virgo in the sixth house, and I'm a north node in Pisces in the 12th house. And long story short, on that, that means that I come from a long history of being extremely grounded in the right here, right now details of what it is that I'm trying to do. Like, whatever my job is in this moment, I can tune out the whole entire world and I can drop my focus into that job until it's done to my satisfaction. And let me tell you, my standards are ridiculously high. I almost always fail them. But I try really hard to do a quality job. And until I've gotten there, I'm not done. I'm not done doing this. And I don't care about the distractions. I'm really good at focusing into what I'm doing in the earth realm. And let's say 5, 10 years ago, that's like all I was. Like, that was the extent of my experience, was the earth realm. It was a to-do list with little boxes next to each item that I tried to check off as many things as I possibly could. Um, there's also a little bit of joy even in adding things to my to-do list, because I know I'm gonna get to check those things off. I'm gonna get them done. So like getting things done, like, it's just a really satisfying experience for me. And it still is, but back then when it was my only experience, I took I took it so seriously, putting a check mark in those little boxes. I took it so seriously that it sucked every ounce of fun out of it that, like, to the point where it wasn't fun. It was just stressful and heavy, and it was literally a grind. It was literally like over and over and over and over and push, 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 just keep going. There was like no savoring the moment. There was no, I'm doing this just for the fun of getting to do stuff. And which is very much how I feel about my earth energy now. I love doing stuff. I love crossing finish lines. Like, it is satisfying to me to cross a finish line that I set out to cross. And honestly, I think that's like one of my best superpowers, is that I love crossing finish lines because it makes me very accomplished. It make like, if you can cross a finish line, you can finish things. You can get it done. You can wrap it up at the end of finishing it, and to put a bow on it and to like deliver something that is like completely finished. Like that, just it, you can hear it. Like, it just brings me a joy that is still so undeniable. Like, it's not that I'm, meant to just swim off into Pisces and like merge with the universe and never come back. Like, I am ultimately grounded in the earth realm. I have a physical body. I'm here. I'm going to be here. Um, and so there is always going to be this balance between our south node and our north node, where we're not ever really meant to like completely leave our south node behind just because that happens to be the most overdeveloped part of your personality. Doesn't mean that you're meant to like completely chop it off and never have that part be a part of you again. It's like, just on purpose, try to build up this other part. And in the building up of the other part, a natural balance gets created, because without, really doing anything with the south node size, it's already huge, let's say, because that's what you've practiced most lifetime after lifetime. And in this lifetime, as you practice your north node, as you build the strength on that side of the equation, naturally they start to get really balanced. And because the north and south node are always located in sister signs, two signs that are always across from each other, they want to be balanced. Like, having one without the other will always make you suffer. It will always be painful to have lopsided energy, because without Pisces, the Virgo shadow is unbearable. And without Virgo, the Pisces shadow is unbearable. So you need both. Otherwise, you will, in an overindulging kind of lopsided energy space, like how I was 5, 10 years ago in my earth energy. I was all up in my earth energy and basically fuck that water energy. Like, ain't nobody got time for emotions. They're stupid anyway. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to write down me on behalf of past me, because that is legit how I operated. I had no time for feelings, mine or anybody else's. And as you can imagine, bottling, if you know anything about bottling up your emotions, like, that doesn't go on for long before you have some kind of explosion, before you have some kind of meltdown, before you have some kind of consequence for ignoring this very valuable part of your energy. And I had meltdown after meltdown after meltdown after burnout crash, burnout crash, burnout crash, get up and go back to the exact same pattern and then crash again, and then get up and then go back to the exact same pattern and then crash again. Like, that was my cycle 5, 10 years ago. And I was very miserable. I was like chronically depressed for like 10 years plus. And I love how Dr. K has taught me that, like, if your depression lasts longer than 6 to 12 months, it probably has a lot more to do with the quality of your life choices and not as much to do with your physical biology. Like, if you go through like actual like biological depression, those are seasonal, and like not with the actual seasons necessarily, but like more like those bouts of changes in your chemistry, they happen for a few months at a time, maybe up to 6 or 12. This is all straight from Dr. K, and he cites his sources. I'm not going to cite them here. But anyways, it makes sense to me because I mean, I know for me, I was depressed for like 13 straight years and it was not solved with medication. I tried lots of different options in my late teens and early 20s, and it just wasn't the right fit for me. And in the end, my spiritual path has all but cured my depression. Like, I still have ups and downs, I still go low. I have dips in my vibration, no doubt about it. The last few days have been a great example, but I can see that, like, I don't even go even close to how low I used to go. And when my vibration dipped back then, I hated myself. In those moments of like the deepest, darkest parts of my depression, my self loathing and my self hatred was, it pushed me to the edge multiple times because I just could not bear to feel that way about myself. And the reason I say, hello, Lolo, the reason I say that my spiritual path at this point, 6 years in, has all but cured my depression is because now when my energy dips, when my vibration goes low, when I get to the low point on that up and down, I still like myself. I still love myself. I still am consciously observing, oh, this is interesting energy. These thoughts are definitely not my normal thoughts. These, like, I'm observing that I clearly feel worse than I normally do. Like, now what I say is like the dust is stirred up in my vibration, in my energy, and it doesn't feel good when the dust is stirred up. It feels very chaotic, intense. And if you wait long enough, the dust always settles back down to the bottom and your energy goes clear and you feel better. So now I understand when I'm in a low that the high is coming, that energy is temporary, it's always moving, it's very fluid. And so if I'll just watch, like if I'll just one breath at a time watch where I am, I'll watch myself enter the upswing. So now I don't turn on myself. I don't I don't ever like, I do beat up on myself a lot. Don't get me wrong for like, I wish I would have done it like this, or is this person mad at me? Like, I still worry about things the same as I kind of always have, but like none of those worries dig at the foundation of my self-love. And 5, 10 years ago, like, I barely had self love, let alone a foundation that was immune to other people's possibly negative opinions of me. Like, getting to see where I am today, where in the face of someone really disliking what I'm doing, that yes, it does send the dust flying in my energetic grid. Maybe someday it won't. That would be really cool. But for now, it still definitely upsets my apple cart. But to have my apple cart upset no longer upsets my inner foundation of self love and knowing the goodness of my own heart and my own intentions. And I know that the last 6 years, 6.5 years of like day by day by day by day, like this morning, for example, I mean, I've journaled 4.5 pages so far of mostly exploring what are the dust particles that are floating in my energy grid right now, because there are a bunch of them. And when something comes that throws the dust up into the air, those particles are actually like our wounds. They're like little chunks of our resistance. And that's why to have them like swirling all up in your energy grid, all over your body, like it feels like sandpaper, even sometimes when it really gets going, like sandpaper on a sunburn, to have your energy so stirred up. And yet at the same time, like that was the analogy that I came up with a few days ago, was like, 10 years ago, to have somebody not like me felt like sandpaper on a sunburn. It hurt. It threw up so much dust into my energy that it just hurt me. And that was all there was. It was just pain. And now, these last couple weeks, I've had several experiences where I have someone delivering feedback that does not feel good. It's not good feedback, it's negative and it's critical and whatever else. But I noticed a few days ago that the sandpaper on the sunburn feeling, it's not a thing anymore. It doesn't feel like that. Yes, it still hurts. Yes, it's still painful, but it is not like gritty sandpaper on an open wound. It's like gritty sandpaper on totally healed skin. And that still does not feel good. It still feels extremely agitating and like this is not what I want. I can't put up with this for very long before that sandpaper is going to eat through my skin and create a brand new open wound. I must deal with this. I need to resolve this immediately so that this does not create more new wounding. Um, and I did. I did my processes. I used my tools. I took my step back. I focused on my breath. I got in my journal and I explored the dust particles. I did not shy away from my pain. I sat in the middle of it and I asked myself, why does this hurt? Where is the pain coming from? And I sank into that energy of bringing love and light to the wounding that I could feel now clearer than ever, thanks to these people and conversations that help to stir up the dust in my grid. And so, all of the tools, all of the energy management, all of the like ability to do everything that I just described, like all of that has unfolded only in the last 6.5 years on this spiritual path with the things that I've been like mostly Abraham Hicks for the first big chunk of it. And in the last couple years, natal charts and human design and gene keys. And I've really opened up my spiritual horizons. But so many tools and skills and bricks that I've laid in my foundation and in my inner stability that have allowed me to re-enter the world these last couple months. And the sandpaper on the sunburn feeling is no more. It doesn't feel like that. It feels different. It feels better. It doesn't feel nearly that painful, not even close to how bad it used to be. And maybe it seems a little bit morbid that I'm celebrating my pain and that my pain is smaller than it used to be, but like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna take every single win I can get, no matter what it looks like, because progress is progress. Progress, like walking in the direction that you intend to go. What is that finish line that you intend to cross? And every single time you notice that you have moved in the direction of that finish line, that's a good day. That's a really good day. And so, what I'm seeing, this like to kind of lay that as this foundation, and then to paint a picture of like the feeling that really gave way to all of this. So, what I'm noticing is basically how I used to be really anchored in my South Node end to the point where I had like not even begun to scratch the surface. I actually had some amount of hostility, I would say, towards my North Node energy. Fuck emotions and all that. And so, let's say 10 years ago, I was only this earth energy. I mean, I had my own amount of fire and air as well. But on earth water spectrum, like my water was very, very, very unconscious at that point. So, like, I was only this earth side and I was never spending time in my water energy. And now, what I'm seeing is these last like couple weeks, 2, 3 weeks, I have been really, really chronically in my earth energy. And the sensation that I noticed, I think, for the first time ever in my life, possibly ever in any life that I've ever lived, because this is my North Node we're talking about, that I miss my water energy. I I miss the feeling of floating. I miss the feeling of weightlessness. I miss the feeling of merging fully with my own expanded self through my emotions, through my intuition. I miss my inner being. I miss my God self. I miss connecting to infinite intelligence. I miss being in my water energy. I'm like craving it. And as a Pisces North Node, I just have to tell you to like have the sensation of like, I feel like a fish out of water. To be so chronically in my earth energy these last 3 weeks, like I feel like I've stepped back in to a lot of old patterns. When I get busy, I go full on Virgo of like, task manager, taskmaster. Like I can manage a lot of details, I would say, honestly, to my own detriment. That's the thing about superpowers. It's like on the flip side of that sword, there's like a whole nother picture of like overdoing it. And so, yeah, like these last 3 weeks, like I've definitely gone like so far towards the extreme of like only earth energy. And it has let me have this absence of my like connecting to my water energy to the point now where I am feeling a craving for water energy. I'm feeling a craving to be in my heart, to be connected to the all, the interconnectedness of the all, the fabric that we all are. I want to come up out of figuring it out in the earth realm and trying to sort it out with people in the earth realm. I want to go back into into the God space where it all is already sorted out, and kind of like I said, like the details and the tasks and the finish lines that we cross, and the the journeys and the paths that we start thinking that we're going to want to cross that finish line, and we actually end up finding a turn along the way or the perfect place to pause and build our home. We don't even need to get to the finish line because along the path we found what we didn't even know we needed. Like those finish lines, they're only for fun. They're only the North Star to orient yourself towards and to use that as a general direction and a general structure of in the earth realm, we have time, right? Like time exists in earth energy where there is a natural limitation of how much time there is in a day, how much time there is in a life. We can't physically do all the things, so we have to choose. What do you want to do? And that's where our earth energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, that combination of earth energy being in balance, lets us pick the best possible finish line for us, and then to focus ourselves to reduce distraction as much as possible to drown out anything that is not us moving incrementally towards that finish line that we ultimately desire. So it isn't about crossing the finish line at all. It's about the journey along the way. The joy is in the journey. And again, this is where Virgo is probably one of them, I gotta think, like one of the most capable signs for having a really, really, really rich journey where your experience is full of so many things, because life is basically a big game of Tetris and you're constantly trying to rotate pieces and figure out how do I fit more in the same amount of space. So you just generally have more going on, I think, in Virgo energy than you do in a lot of the other signs. But also without Pisces, Virgo is so miserable. Virgo is so weighed down in the heaviness of all the things that there are to do. Virgo wants to do more, 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 push, 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 push. And that has lost sight of the whole point of the joy is in the journey. And I think that's what has me craving my water energy, is because in these last few weeks, I feel like where I'm at right now, I'm to a point where I'm grinding it out, and that's not fun. I can't grind for the long term. I can't hustle for the long term. So rather than continuing to do that, today, this morning, right now, I feel myself pulling back and sinking back down. I'm seeing like the moon card in the Light Seers tarot. Like I feel like I just want to like float down into the ocean of emotion that is like the bottomless pit of my soul, the bottomless channel of my own energy, that if you swim down far enough, you find God. I want to get down there. And right now, as far as like my skills with my Pisces and my skills with like flowing between the earth and the water realms, like for me, it's usually like at this point anyway, like really capturing this moment on my soul's evolution. I would love to hear like 5 years from now, like maybe I can just get there in a heartbeat. But right now, it takes me like probably 2, 3 days to swim to the bottom of my soul. Like, I love this analogy of swimming to the bottom of my soul, because to do that, you have to let go of the earth realm. You have to be willing to sink into darkness, right? Like, I don't know if any of you scuba dive, but like when you go deep enough, the light from the surface doesn't get down that far. So it's very dark at like when you get really low in the underwater. And if you're scared of the dark, you can't get down there. I mean, if you don't want to be in the dark, you can't go that deep then. And if you can't go that deep, then you can't get to the bottom of your soul, meaning you can't connect with God. This is all very much just how I understand it based on how my own internal process works. So right now, it's like when I've been really, really, really chronically in the earth realm, meaning I've been like spending, let's just say like what it is right now, like the last few weeks, like, I mean, it's like 12-hour days, wake up and do it again, wake up and do it again, wake up and do it again, wake up and do it again. And doing that a lot, like at first, is really, really, really exhilarating for me. When I'm well rested, when my gas tank is full, to have 12 hours of work to do where I just feel engaged and like going from like finishing this thing and then finishing this thing and then I got to do this and then I got to do this and then I got and get this done and this done and this done. And plus I have like 2 different grocery stores. I have 2 different YouTube channels. I have like my certificate project that I'm designing right now. Like I have this business plan that I'm writing for this grocery store in 30 minutes away. Like I have all of these different pieces that I have floating around me. And so like in that 12 hours of work, I might touch all of those different projects. And like work to me is a fun thing. Like work is not a dirty word like it is to some people. But again, I think that's that Virgo energy where I just legit like to do stuff in the physical. I really enjoy using my own 2 hands to get stuff done. Again, a little bit to my own detriment. But when I've been doing that, it's like to think that I'm going to float into my water energy, it takes a lot. It's like a whole day of just kind of kicking around on the surface of the water, like trying to stop peeking my head up out of the water to look at the shore. Like every time I start to descent, I'll like have like oh my God, did I put out the extra cake slices? Oh my God, did I remember to add the timestamps on that reading? Like I'll have some kind of like earthly concern for like whatever my physical thing is doing. And it'll pop me right back out of my water energy. So like it's like a whole day of literally just like kind of kicking with my flippers around the surface of the water, like glancing back at the shore, like, am I sure? Am I sure I can really leave it? Am I sure I can really let go of those earth details? Am I sure? Am I sure? Maybe I need to go back out there and put those cake slices out. Maybe I need to tell her, hey, don't forget to do this. Like so many of those little thoughts where it's a whole day to even just like not be in the earth energy, to let myself be technically in my sanctuary where I should be capable of like sinking down to like, I'm not working today. This is a rest day. I have nothing on my calendar. The coast is clear. I'm just going to be at home all day. And yet I'll spend a whole day still kind of like energetically clinging to my earthly concerns. Like I'm not at work, but I am at work. So that's like day one of like getting in the water and even letting myself get off of the shore, getting out of the earth energy. And then by about day two, I'll like really get some weight going where I can like really sink in. And that usually, that descent, there's a lot to process. There's a lot present in my emotional energy that I have to be able to like unravel these pieces of resistance, these knots, these thorns in my vibrational paw that need to be pulled out as I descend again in order to be able to go deep enough. You have to heal the pain that's present that's keeping you out of there. And so there's a lot of healing that happens in day two. And usually by day three of not working, this is like 3 days in a row of not having anything on my calendar. By the third day, I can be at the bottom. I can be merged back. Like, and by the second that I merge, I am like fully, like the gas tank fills up in an instant. Like I don't have to spend hardly any time merged with my full self to be able to re-energize myself. That being said, I spent basically the last like year being somewhere along that descent, somewhere either healing some resistance that was keeping me from descending all the way or fully descended into my soul's bottom, into my God self. And spending a year doing that work has changed my life in a way that, I mean, I don't know how many more times in my life I'm going to get to take a year away from the earth realm to do my physical healing process, like where I just go into isolation and I'm inside of myself. Like I kind of abandoned my life a little bit, my family, my work, my businesses. Like I just focused on being in my own water energy, being connected to God because it felt it felt too good to do anything else basically. And so that's what I did for like the last year. And the strength of the energy in my gas tank that I started with when I re-emerged here a couple months ago when I started this new grocery store. Um, I mean, again, I think it would be amazing to get to do a whole nother year of healing and get to witness like the gas that that puts in my gas tank. Not only like I feel like, you know, when we talk about self-care, a lot of times like we're talking about filling your gas tank back up. But like something that I really have been like kind of feeling my way around for a long time, and I've hinted at this in a lot of other stories that I've told, but like today I'm seeing it so clearly that like what I did in that year of just being in my water energy was I didn't just put gas in my gas tank, I actually increased the size of my gas tank. I like expanded my gas tank exponentially. I can't even begin to tell you that like, you know, I used to be here with like a 5 gallon gas can that like I could barely keep full. It's like dribbling out of there like that's all I have left pretty much all the time. Again, that's where I was 10 years ago because doing stuff in the physical realm, it takes a lot of energy. So like when you get your hands in the clay, when you start trying to take steps and cross finish lines and do all that stuff, you're spending. That's an expense on your energy account, on your gas tank. And if you're going to do that, you need to be really good about putting the gas back in there because otherwise you run out. And so, and when you run out, like same as when you run out of real gas. I don't know if you've ever done that. I've had enough of those experiences to know you're stuck. You are stuck and now you're on foot. And that's a really slow go. It's really stupid and annoying and frustrating and usually happens at the worst possible time. And that's just really annoying. And so, self care, in my opinion, is like that balance with your earth energy to like make sure that there's gas in the tank so you don't get stranded. But healing, the difference maybe between self care and healing grows the size of your gas tank. Like, I don't have a 5 gallon gas can anymore. I got like a freaking milk tanker. Like, have you seen these driving down the highway, like where they're hauling milk off of dairy farms to go to the packaging facility? Like, we're talking thousands of gallons in one haul, thousands of gallons on board at a time. And that's where I am now. And that's why these last few weeks of like pushing like I have been and doing, I've done self care along the way. Don't get me wrong. Like I've taken full days even to do self care. I've taken 3 days at a time, a couple of times to like, again, that's why I know like it takes me 3 days to like get back down in there where I was for like a year. And I can do that, I see, because of the healing that I did over this last year and the expansion that that did to, like that upgrade that that did to my gas tank. It's huge now. It's got thousands of gallons sloshing around in there. I can go for miles and miles and miles and miles and like outrun so many of the other people around me. Like it's incredible the energy that I have. And at the same time, I'm already feeling after only these last few weeks of doing that, of like only operating on self care, it's like not enough. Self care isn't enough. I need healing. I need to like heal as I go because I can feel that, kind of like I said on like day 2 of that descent, like once I really sink into my emotional energy, I'm finding there's so many new thorns in my paw that I've picked up over these last few weeks. Like there's so many like almost new wounds to deal with in addition to like everything that I ever picked up in any lifetime, and this one that I've been like healing kind of the backlog over this last year. It's like I'm not done with the backlog. And when I just go, 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 and just am doing kind of the bare minimum of self care that's required to like kind of keep me feeling good along the way, I'm picking up new wounds and I'm only 3 weeks in. And so I'm getting this sense that I need to take even more than like 3 days. I need to take like a week and take a step back and like heal what I have accumulated in these last few weeks and get back into that place where my thousands of gallons of gas tank is totally 100% full and I'm ready to go again. And then beyond that, I'm also wanting to continue to practice a pace that allows to come onto land and do some fun things for fun and continue on this healing journey to find that pace that allows for all of it, to allow for this beautiful balance and harmony between Pisces and Virgo, where, like I said, like when I very first start doing 12-hour days, like it's exhilarating to me. It's like energizing to get to work like that for a few days. But here I am at the end of week 3, and I'm like, I can't keep doing this. I have to slow down. Otherwise, like the rate at which I'm accumulating emotional debris in my field that needs to be cleared out, like, I mean, I'm not allocating near enough time for that end of the spectrum. And so making the choice to take a step back and let myself re-energize the Pisces side. So again, it naturally grows and a beautiful balance can organically ensue.